Okay, can we start? I'm sorry that I'm cutting your talks between you. Oh my God, we have networking also between the speakers. Okay, thank you very much for the productive discussion in the previous. I don't say session, on the previous part of the event. It's big pleasure for me that I have 4 ladies with me, 5 together. So it's very important also to have gender balance, but this is not gender balance. So as you can notice, the consortium is pretty much led by ladies. Now also the topic will be approached by ladies. However, with these strong ladies, I had in the previous period a lot of conversation, a lot of discussions, a lot of mutual actions, a lot of mutual steps, and as I said, I'm very glad and proud that you accepted our invitation and you are together with us here in this room. So I will start with. Alexandra, when I saw your name and surname in the...
It's too long.
No, but I have never known you like Loparska.
That's from the husband.
So I said, they had some mistake. Yeah, they had. Because Andre was preparing the agenda. So
the real surname along, but...
Yeah, with us today is Alexandra Iloska from Public. A very active person in North Macedonia when it's coming to social entrepreneurship topic, not only practically but also legislatively. Alexandra will approach to us everything what is connected about legal frameworks in our country, and if you have something for sharing from the region or other perspectives from other countries, it's more than welcome. And also about the support systems in our societies. So, Alexandra, the floor is yours.
Should I do it like this? Is it on?
It's not. I'm not the best person.
I'm not a very technical person.
It's okay.
No, it's okay. Great. Biljana, thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy and honored to be here with all these young people from different countries. During my work in the social economy as a sector, I more and more acknowledge the importance of young people being involved in social economy, ensure that they recognize sufficiently the sector and participate in it and support its development. As Biljana already introduced me, I'm Alexandra. I work as a policy researcher at the Association for Research, Communications and Development Public, but maybe we are less familiar with this under this name. And actually our strongest brand is our own work integration social enterprise, the street magazine Face to Face. And actually, this is one of the first social enterprises in North Macedonia, and we operate on the market for 11 years now. Developing a social enterprise and being part of it actually was huge added value for the development of our organization primarily because it put us into a position to advocate for policy development and for development of the legal framework, but based on our experience. And that's the most important thing actually, because what we see very often, unfortunately, it's still happening. A lot of consultants or academia being involved in policy development and including the social enterprises as primary beneficiaries in the very late processes of the development of the policy framework that is supposed to regulate the social enterprise. Why I'm mentioning this is just as an encouragement to really recognize the importance of your involvement as beneficiaries as people from the sector to also recognize your role in the policy making processes. Sometimes, yes, I'm aware it can sound a little bit scary or too distant, but that's the most important thing, especially if we want to ensure that the legal framework is adequate it addresses our needs, and the legal framework enables a sustainable ecosystem that supports our needs and addresses our challenges. What we have been doing actually in the last 11 years, we as a social enterprise, we have been involved on many occasions. North Macedonia had few attempts to adopt a legal framework that was expected to regulate the sector. The first time it was 2015, and it was the first attempt to adopt a law, but luckily, although very few social enterprises existed in that time, we were speaking from our experience, and actually we managed to convince policymakers that we as a system, we are not ready for a regulatory framework. And why we were not ready? It's because we didn't have enough practice, enough examples of social enterprises that were supposed to inform the law. Because actually, what is one of the lessons learned from other countries is that you need to have enough practice, you need to have enough examples in order to be able to adopt and develop a sufficient and effective regulatory framework. And actually this step is something that we continuously fall. We are missing and we are falling out and we are starting all over again. Luckily, what also thanks to our advocacy efforts, we provided a suggestion and recommendation to the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy in North Macedonia. This is the institution that is responsible for developing the sector, to adopt a strategy for social enterprises. A strategy that will actually enable a positive and supportive ecosystem for social enterprises. Ecosystem as a terminology, it's very widely used in the social economy as a sector, and it means not just having regulatory framework, but having enough social enterprises that recognize, that cooperate among each other, that we have municipalities that recognize the sector and have partnerships and support the social enterprises. And in the previous session, we already heard just one example of Olaf from Bitola, how important is actually the cooperation with the municipalities in order to ensure that this social enterprise is sustainable. Then we have also institutions that recognize and support, not only like legally, but also with financial instruments and other funds that support social enterprises, but also include these social enterprises in their supply chains, or maybe buy products and services from them. We already, even in the previous session, we spoke how important it is to buy products and services from social enterprises. Having an enabling ecosystem also means having social enterprises that also work with each other, that buy services and products from each other. And these are all that we have education that nurtures from very young age empathy for the other people, for the environment. So why I'm just adding all these things, just to stress the importance that yes, the regulatory framework is one way to encourage the development of the sector, but it's far from enough. We need all these different components if we want to ensure that social enterprises are operating in a supportive environment. Right after the adoption of the strategy for social enterprises, North Macedonia, compared to other Western Balkans countries, we were in let's say a little bit better position because we used technical assistance projects that were supposed to develop the sector, and so far we have used more than 2.5 million technical assistance projects from the European Commission that was supposed to develop the sector. In the second phase of that technical assistance project, we have established a national resource center for social enterprises and 8 local support structures for social economy enterprises. But what we faced as a country was actually the sustainability of all these initiatives, not only the operational but also the financial sustainability. And unfortunately, after the end of the technical assistance project, we saw that the majority of the local support structures are not operating, and even the National Resource Center, which is amazing building in an amazing location, is also facing challenges to continue with its operations. So what we can see from this perspective is also the importance of the government and the Ministry of Labor and Social Policy in our case to be involved in these processes and to ensure that something that has started and something that is producing results to continue its development. Also during this second phase, a second attempt to adopt a law on social enterprises was made. According to the latest information that I have, the law is somewhere in the parliament. I don't know what will happen, whether and when it will be adopted. But one of the comments and the critics that me personally had and youth organizations had was that the law was great. It's great and it's very enabling for social enterprises that work with marginalized groups, such as the street magazine Face to Face. For us, it's a very good law, but it's not sufficiently encouraging for young people, because it looks like young people need something more. They don't always see themselves working with marginalized groups, and we should be aware that working with marginalized groups, it's just one way to demonstrate your social mission, but there are also other ways how you can define and demonstrate your social mission. Especially we see a lot of progress of social enterprises working in green economy and green energy production. One of the major achievements that I would like to show as an example of the process of developing the strategy for social enterprises was the involvement and the education and the information that were shared with representatives from institutions. And thanks to that participatory approach, the Fund for Innovation and in Technology Development published only one call, unfortunately. After that, the director was changed. That was targeting social enterprises. We as an organization were also part of that initiative. I also see one. Yeah, and I know that there were a lot of challenges, but it's very. We were not very happy when we saw that we didn't manage to ensure continuity of that initiative. But we were very positively surprised to see the number of applicants that recognized themselves as social enterprises and were actually able to prove that they are a social enterprise. From this perspective, the major conclusion that we can make that in order to enable the development of the sector, the financial instruments are the most important part. Yes, the map is really important, is in enabling access to markets and promoting social enterprises. But on the other hand, access to finance and social finance instruments, in our case, it's the most important. And unfortunately, although there are many opportunities from the EASY program on EU level, I know that Serbia was using that call. So far, nobody from North Macedonia, no institution has had applied in order to pilot and implement a social finance instruments, because without financial support, without tenders and calls, this sector cannot live, cannot be financially sustainable. I know that there are other markets like we have with face-to-face with the street magazine. We have a lot of supporters and we have a huge sales and everything. But if we try, we don't have like now we are at the stage when we want to scale up, but we don't have access to instruments again. So that's for me, it's also the most important part. Because also during the technical assistance project, we saw a lot of social enterprises, including Dalian. They recognize themselves as a part of the sector. They managed a certain development. But now if they want a little bit more, let's say in the next few years, it's a little bit difficult to ensure access to finance, to ensure that a scale up of the services or the capacities that you are having.
Thank you, Alexandra. Yeah, interesting information coming from your side. Yeah, I agree. It's just I would add that not the sector is very dependent from the financial instruments. But if we want this sector to grow, we must have in our societies financial instruments for this element. They will live but not grow. But we will move elements.
Yes, next project will be a social finance instrument. Yeah, which is
yeah,
it's a challenge.
Finger crossed, next 16 years in my life, let's say. Thank you, Alexandra, very much. Me personally, I mentioned several times networking today, and for me, it's very important element. And therefore, I invited Dina and Stella to speak about the element together. Dina, because she invited Youth Alliance Kruševo in one Western Balkan network for social entrepreneurship. And Stella is making pioneer steps in her country, in Bulgaria, for, again, networking element. So, ladies, I'm encouraging you to share your experience and also advise us how we to dive deep into this element in our society. So maybe Dina can start.
Hi again. As I said, I will speak a bit about our experiences with networking. I would also like to have a couple of remarks regarding the discussion we had. It concerns the question that Natasha had regarding the screening for the map. We in Serbia, within the coalition, have this database of social enterprises, and we used this approach to selecting social enterprises for the map within this project. Natasha's comment on this, who will be checking actually who are the social enterprise, is the most important actually question of the legitimacy of being sure that there is no misuse, but not just that, just to be sure that this is the sector that grows. We have our approach with actually checking the impact of social enterprises, and it's not a big deal. It's the statement actually that social enterprises have to have. Within the law that we now have, we will have impact reporting, but it's not relevant to have a law for such thing. It's relevant to have the institution that can guarantee that these are the social enterprise. So we need to be careful, and I think this is the space also where sector can self-regulate in a way to be the one to say, guys, can you check? Are these guys social enterprises and so on? So this could be motivating actually social enterprises to organize even more. So this could be like, in a way, introduction to the topic of networking, because we had network of social enterprises in Serbia. It was established in 2010. Let's say it was project based. And we see that as a bit problematic in a way if it's project-based, if it's not motivated by social enterprises as such. It was also established by the intermediary organization. So it lived when project was active, but later on it took really huge effort to maintain and to preserve the sustainability. Eventually, it faded out. But one of the things with the network as such of social enterprises is at that time, especially because it was the beginning of how to say, raising awareness of the topic. It was the beginning of emerging the sector in Serbia. It was the visibility. When they were part of this social enterprise network of Serbia, it was the place that they were all presented. And it turned out that even today, they refer on being member of this network. It was especially in the moment when nobody knew anything about the sector. So it was, in material words, it was the website where you could find all the information on the social enterprises. It wasn't only about the products, it was about the services. And they were members. It was a form, they established it as an association, not formally registered, but they had assembly and so on. So it was really like authentic network, but one of the main problems was the financial sustainability, and in a way it vanished. And nowadays we in Serbia discuss about necessity of having this kind of network. But we realize when I say we are from intermediary organizations, we are figuring out how to find within social enterprises actually those that would lead it. It's completely different when social enterprise leads it and when intermediary or somebody independent leads some kind of network of social enterprises. And it's important, I think it's important also for this topic of the map and the platform. What's the purpose of it? So if it's one purpose to present it, if it's for the consumers, it should be left to be for it in a way. It's really debatable whether having all this catch-all approach is something that confuses the visitors of that site. So it's not the same. Natasha knows more about communication. It's not the same to communicate with decision makers and with the regular consumers or the public. So I think that's something that we should have in mind while figuring out the follow-up of this project. While with the Coalition for Solidarity Economy Development, we emerged as a coalition of organizations that are also intermediary organizations. And the mandate that Coalition got in 2010 was to deal with the policy, because all our founders already were dealing with some part of social economy or social entrepreneurship. One gave financial instruments or grants. Some of them were establishing social enterprises. And then we said we need to have one entity that in a way represents expertise and organizations in the sector, but it has to be one place. And it was the moment also when public institutions got interested in the topic. So it was really useful to have one channel of communication. And we stayed a policy organization. One of the things that we insist on doing is the communication with the sector. We realized, even in the beginning, but also sector things that we are joint initiative, we couldn't do anything in the policy arena without its support. And me, as being the one that lead the coalition, I think it's substantial to get inputs from, as I was listening to Alexandra, and I agree 100% on everything you said. You need to have strong sector, you need to have sector that has a voice in order to have policies that answer to their needs, because otherwise you don't need a policy. I mean, especially because social enterprises are doing public good, they're in the arena of public interest. So it's not any kind of enterprise, and that's why it's important to have this kind of alliance between policies and the actions of social enterprises, because they're actually doing the activities mostly that are in mandate of the institutions. Mm-hmm. And that's something that people forget. The social issues and environmental issues are actually only to be regulated and done, and the only responsible for the quality in that arena are the institutions. It's being changed. And the actors are being changed, but actually they're the ones that need to create an environment where all other actors are contributing to it. So in that way, we as a coalition focused also not only on social enterprise, we are gaining legitimacy out of it and knowledge on the sector, because otherwise there's no point of working the things we do. We also realized, and it's also something that Alexandra said, it's really important, it's not only about building social enterprises, and I think it's also a message for youth. We need to have people in all places, you know. It's if you have growing sector without growing capacities of the institutions, of supporting these institutions, it's an equal development. So that's why strategic approach that was taken in Macedonia in terms of building the ecosystem is good. The result is not something that will be debated, but it's important to have knowledge in the research institutions, in public institutions. You have to have at the universities people that understand what we are talking about in order to have equal development. And that's something that we focused on to collaborate with those stakeholders that are rarely recognized as the part of the ecosystem, because again our members are working directly with social enterprises. We also, how we grew, we also became important resource. One of the things that we recognized, there is lack of knowledge, of course, on the topic, and our stakeholders are rarely general public. We are mostly communicating with intermediary organizations, with public and so on. But one of the things that we did was definitely building that knowledge on the sector, and our website was serving for it, and our experts were the ones that communicate on this topic, representing situation in the Serbia. Alexandra and we are also part of this regional initiative that is wider than the Western Balkans, and we believe that, as we made this declaration as well, that regional cooperation is substantial. One of the things when you evaluate regional projects is actually that building of experience and resources. Again, this is for this sector substantial. because we cannot make a lot, especially in this legal framework, about the market or such things. It's still in its infancy, but we can learn from the mistakes, and in that way, it turned out that the regional projects are important for exchanging the experiences. Nowadays, with this Sea Alliance, we made like step forward. It's part of the European, in a way, initiative, but we want to make more from Western Balkans to have some kind of sectoral approach and to know which are the actors in the Western Balkans that deal with specific part of the sector. If they are doing the policy, you know that you can call them for experience in that kind of methodology. So we continue, and one of the also important things why regional cooperation, especially only in Western Balkans, it's a policy context in terms of European integration. There are no national level when you communicate with the European level. We are seen as Western Balkans.
Yeah.
And it's the context that we need to embrace. In a way, we have independent negotiations with the institutions, but actually this market is small. So that's why everything is regional, and we are quite similar in so many ways. So having understanding that this is the market that we are figuring out, it should be something really important information for social enterprise, but all us that are working in this field. So anyhow, I would just like to underline this importance of networking as a part of building resources for all of us that are part of it, and also to underline the most important thing, and that is the challenge to have networks. Networks, especially those working in the policy arena, are hardly funded, actually. So any kind of fundraising towards network is really, really huge challenge, and that is the reason why we need to engage those that have the most interest in it. And what is that kind of interest? I believe that building networks of social enterprises is something that could help building even, in a way, political power with economic background of social enterprise, so you can be a stronger negotiator for the policies, for financial instruments. So having strong sector is really fundamental for all the actions within national society, but also regional. So I would conclude here. I could talk a lot. I'm really passionate about social entrepreneurship. I've been in this topic for 15 years, and I have never stopped to be in love with people who are actually engaged in the sector. And anytime we just discuss, are we fed up with the project events, but you get motivated when you see the people that start the social enterprises or are interested in it. You're like, okay, this is really good. So thanks for the time, and thanks for your experiences to share with us.
Thank you, Dina. Oh my God, I don't know how you collect all of this information. It's pretty much now it's coming crowding with the information. Stella,
Okay.
you are
Can
younger
you hear
than
me?
me and Nina.
Yeah.
And Dina.
I'll try and take a different approach and kind of engage the youth. And so yeah, a bit about me. I am the managing director of the Social Tea House in Varna, Bulgaria. But in this discussion, I'm putting the mask of the vice president of the Bulgarian Association of Social Enterprises, which I will refer to BASE because it's too long. So BASE is a baby association. It was established in the end of 2022, but it was the product of many discussions in Varna because we are several very active social enterprises that are always at the case of the municipality to give us something, to help us out a bit. And everyone was tired because when you go, of course, your top priority is your own institution, your own organization, and you go and you ask for a building, you ask for financial support, you ask for just anything like communication, promotion. And we thought, okay, this puts us in direct confrontation between each other because we are asking for the same resources. So that's not going to work. We want to help each other. We don't want to ask for the same things. So we decided, okay, we need to speak in one voice and we need to have one network to help us out, communicate with just anybody. So that came to life in 2022. For us, it was important for the person representing us to not be a part of any of the social enterprises so that they're not defending a single, interest within the organization. We picked an amazing girl who was going to, be the person doing all of this, but I will support the girls on the table just saying that it is very difficult to be financially sustainable and to provide salary for someone asking other entities that have no money to support that thing. So it was a very rough start where I think 7 at the moment, basically founding organizations and finding our steps through this whole thing and also finding our top priorities because everything is not working. So what is a top priority? So we focused on finding other members and we focused also on becoming sustainable. And I will talk more about the first part because finding new members was really related to the map that is a part of this project. What we did was, firstly, the girl I'm talking about, she used this instrument to get in touch with other organizations that are outside of Varna, because right now, the members of the association are all in Varna. So she had this opportunity to kind of engage them through this, but also to find out more about the whole sector. And the other part was that she was trying to get members saying, hey, you're going to join this network. We're going to be stronger together. We're going to do advocacy together. We're going to do, have this united front. But also you're going to have something tangible, which is going to be your profile in this platform. So you're going to have this. We vet you, as an association, we vet you. We say, okay, these people are good people, so they can be on the platform. We help you out with a profile and, do the resume and everything. And, this is the effort we put into helping you out. So you don't have to sit down and, think about which profile picture to put and all of that. So we included it as a main element of joining the association. We tried using instruments like that because otherwise it's just a lot of, chatting. It's like, yeah, we're going to be together, we're going to know each other and everything. But it was good to develop instruments like that. And also the other part was that this instrument is developed in an interesting way because it involves a lot of young people. So a lot of you talked about TikTok and, social media and all of that. The context in Bulgaria is a bit different because we have the EU. So it's the other way around. Right now, the EU is pushing a lot for social enterprises and for social entrepreneurship. They're giving money, but the whole context is not ready. Yeah. But we're not ready for it. We don't even know what that means. And in Bulgarian, social and communal are very similar words. So people don't really know when you're talking about social enterprises. Yeah, they're like, oh, so you guys just get together. It's a fun thing. So it is very challenging in this perspective. And I'm telling you, the Bulgarian government is not doing a good job with the interesting part. So every element that comes from the government is very administrative, very boring. So when you go to the social enterprise and say, okay, this is the platform that you want to be using, that consumers would want to use, it's great. It's not like, go to the register of social enterprises and check the, national code of this enterprise. It's a lot better. So instruments like these are important. I just want to state that, when we work on stuff like this, it's not just, so that we can get the project and get the financing and then, close it off and be like, okay, it was a very fun thing to do together. But it's also good because we actually get into the mindset of talking with other networks. So here, because we spoke a lot about, funding, about governments and all of that, I want to kind of ask you a question. Can you raise your hand if you are a student? Don't be shy. Okay. Can you raise a hand if you work for a business, for like a corporation, if you work in the for-profit sphere? If you were a student at work, that's okay. You can raise your hand twice. Okay. Do you work for an NGO or are you volunteering somewhere? Bam. Okay. Do you work for the government in your country? Okay. We look at you people. People with the money. And also, do you have family and friends who live abroad and come back home?
Come back from.
Yeah, well,
Cool question.
sometime. Okay. So each of you is a part of a network in this case. And a network that's very important for social enterprises. So the people that work in, that are students. Universities are amazing for social enterprises because in uni, you get to look at things as cases. You don't work it. You're not into the everyday, accountancy, paying the bills and everything. You look at the case. You can get amazing, innovative advice from university students. That is, best thing about like what we do working with youth. So you could be an amazing asset and ally to social enterprises. If you work in business, businesses nowadays really want to be socially responsible. That's, the badge of honor of any business, that you are socially responsible, you use recyclable materials, and also you help out everyone that's in need. So if you work in a business, it's really easy, especially around Christmas, to say, okay guys, let's do like our own event, let's get some money and donate it to this social enterprise, or let's put a bit of work in it, go and help them out, sell their Christmas presents or whatever it is, the business will love it. And then HR would be like, take pictures and we cover everything. So this is a great instrument, like working in a company. If you work in government, you know what to do. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. It's all about, advocacy from the inside. That's a lot, that's more valuable than anyone just knocking on doors and being like, hey, please hear me out. So you could be a great ally. Working in NGOs, volunteering, that's you giving your time away. That's the most valuable thing you can do. Giving your time away to a social enterprise is amazing. In this case, working on the ground, we have a volunteer with us who's doing a lot of work, social media, something that I cannot do while I'm talking to accountancy is something that is very important today. Everyone wants to see what we're doing, but as we told the people in the tea house, we cannot show you what we do because we do a lot. And then there's no time to show it. So this is amazing. As a volunteer, you can totally do that. And, friends and family abroad, that was kind of random, but basically what do I do? When I have people coming in from abroad, I take them to the social enterprises in Varna and I make them buy presents from the social enterprises because this is the way to support it. And it is someone that's coming in, fresh mind and telling them, okay, these are the people that are doing good in our community. So let's support them. And everyone's pretty happy with that. So you can do it with anyone. So you're part of a network. Maybe you don't realize it, you are. And social enterprises don't live in a vacuum. We are a part of our communities. So it's really good to use every opportunity to support the enterprise, not only through your money, but time, efforts, and everything. In terms of, the networking element of an official network for the association, you can come and ask me. We're not super experienced yet, but there are very fresh ideas. So I would love to share it with anyone who's interested. But I do encourage you as a member of a network, know your social enterprises. You can use instruments like this to know which are the ones that are around you. Mm-hmm. You can use it when you're traveling and you want to support the sector. And also, to do your part in that. It could be just an hour a week, but it would mean the world. I think that's
super. Thank you very much. It was very inspirative, let's say. I feel now connected. Yeah. There will be time for questions or some direct comments to the speakers. I'm coming to the most interesting element for my work, and it's about engaging youth in social economy.
So we will speak this element with Natasha from Woman on the Way. So most probably we'll speak about young woman engagement. But this is not. I know from everyday work how challenging is the youth engagement. So share with us some advices, some recommendations, tips. Yes, tips and tricks. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Natasha Miškanović. I have many identities. Today I'm here on behalf of a social enterprise and small fashion brand Women on the Way. Women on the Way was founded more than 2 years ago by Katarina and Farima. Katarina was studying for her master thesis about free time of women refugees who are in Serbia. And that's how she met Farima, who was at the time a refugee in Syria seeking for asylum. And they came up to the idea that the most beneficial for women refugees in Serbia would be to have them involved in fashion industry. That's how Women on the Way was founded. And today it is rising and developing social enterprise which does not only selling clothes and fashion, but it is also a platform for multiculturalism because the design involves both cultural heritage from the countries where the women refugees are and Serbian or domestic or Balkan cultural heritage. So that's one of my identities. The second one is that I have academic background in social enterprises because I have gained a master thesis in a topic on how development of civil society organization can develop actually social enterprises. My idea was to exchange the thesis, but my professor was really struggling with it because I had the case study. Of course, when it comes to social enterprises, you always have the practice and you have a less theoretical part or law or institutional support because the theoretical part was a bit mess or it was lacking the theoretical part. So we had really struggled what to do with my case studies. I used to work for one feminist cultural center in Serbia called BEFEM, which had their incomes. So BEFEM was a semi-sustainable or how we would scale it like CSO with income. It was not yet social enterprise, but we didn't know at the time that we are on any kind of scale because when we were doing it, we did it intuitionally. So because we were so depending on donators, we wanted to collect our skills and see if we can sell it on a market so we can actually fund the activities of a feminist cultural center that are not profitable in any kind of way or no one wants to fund them. So that's how I came to my case study. And then we actually made this master thesis of how actually enforcing income in CSOs can actually develop social entrepreneurship ecosystems. So that's the other identity. The third thing is that why networking is so important, because if it wasn't for Dina, I wouldn't be sitting here today. When I established my association for a sustainable development and economy in ITNA, I didn't know what to do. I thought that I'm just an association. I had an idea, which I didn't know how I can make profitable. And I sat with Dina. She was the very first person that I sat with. And she told me, like, but you can try these social enterprises and talk to Zorana. And then I started to talk to people who had more knowledge, more skills in it. And they told me to apply for one program for sustainable businesses in Serbia. And I was still thinking like, but if I engage my association with businesses, people will perceive it wrongly and they will think that I'm completely profitable. So I wasn't sure strategically what to do with my idea yet. That's why but I enrolled. You have really no many chances when you're a newly established association with your idea. You have to knock on every door that can be open for you because really like there are not many opportunities with fresh ideas. So that's how I went to that program. And then I met Katarina of Women on the Way. It is very interesting story because Katarina and I, we are both from Novi Sad, living in Belgrade, and we are the same age. We had the same friends in Novi Sad, but we never met in person before this program. And while we were at the program, I had a strong sense of community in that program. I'm still friends with people from that program and cooperatives. We are collaborating on many topics. I had that feeling that I'm not alone, and that those people are here in good manner, good intentions, and that they will help me with my idea, which is not the case in business and profitable sector. So I can ask them and they will help me when we have compatible skills. So that's how Katarina and I actually realized we are not competitors, because we were both in kind of a fashion idea. And that we can actually be stronger together. That's how we applied. We decided to apply to start an initiative called Cultural Diversity and Sustainable Fashion. That we got the project. We had event. We mapped the needs of the community. We had a website, etc. And we had a big event called the Market of Different Fashion. It was really successful, and now that initiative developed into different fashion festival. We are going to have another festival event on 20th of April in Belgrade. You're welcome to come. But we also want to meet the needs of women who are involved in different fashion in any way that we listed, like our criteria. So we had for them a course of digital marketing, because promotion was one of the topics they mapped as really much needed. And then we had consultative meetings with them one-on-one, where they were asking a lot of questions of how to register, where to sell, what are benefits if you're a social enterprise, if you're an association, if you're just a regular entrepreneur, etc., etc. So our next step is going to be to organize a course for them to education, or on when and where to register, how they can maybe together make an association, strengthen each other, hold each other back in this situation. And it's funny because we are actually organizing our small network of fashion people from fashion, and they also don't see each other as competitors, but associates and collaborators. But how we are engaging youth, to come to the question, we actually understood that me coming from this kind of educational background, I understood when I was young, and many people when they are studying, they have no clue what are actually all the options in their career path when once they are on a job market. So we started our new program that we are going to go into high schools. To talk about sustainability, to promote sustainable fashion, recycling, upcycling. Because when we actually visited Novi Pazar last 2 weeks ago, and we realized that actually they really need this kind of knowledge, and we of course are promoting social economy and enterprises along the way, because we come from one social enterprise. So it's like it's completely new world for them, that it is possible to do it in a different way. So that's one way to enter the educational systems, because they don't have clue about it. We all who are here, or older generation, I will be encouraged to speak in the name of my. We had to dig by ourselves to find information and to be taught what is it actually, but we want to serve them, to give them all of the information we needed years together, so they can immediately have in their heads, like not necessarily to get involved in social enterprises, but to know it as an option when it comes to social, and then to engage other people. When we were discussing when it comes to communication, we have beneficiaries, we have communities, and we have our target group, and we have our target buyers. So youngsters still have not this kind of power to buy things. Yeah. Purchasing power. So actually Gen Z and younger people are not our target group in that way. But if we want to have them as future buyers, and buyers for all of the other things for the good cause. And Gen Z has intuitively already that feeling for the cause. We have to educate them on social enterprises, social economy, and all the different ways that it can be done. Because social enterprises, as I can see them, is actually tackling all the parts of other sectors, business sector, non-profitable sector, government sector, and they up to this moment they were all running their businesses separately without any kind of intersections. Yes, and the social enterprises are intersection of all of it. So it is really important to engage them, to let them know all of the information, and also when it comes to engaging youth on our festival Different Fashion, we had last year the panel. The panel that I was the most proud of. What does Gen Z thinks about sustainable fashion? And they were really spoken up about the fact they knew a lot of things. Because when I was a student, I would be really afraid to go and talk on any topic that I'm not still graduated at. But they were just like, oh yeah, thank you for asking us. Let me tell you something about the sustainable fashion. And I was like, okay, tell me. I'm listening. Yeah. And when it comes to communications and digital marketing, when it comes especially to TikTok, we are planning to. We had volunteers last year for the event, but this year I'm going to hand them our TikTok account and tell them just like, okay, this is the top magic. Do it. Because they know what's the best for them, and when it comes to engaging youth, just ask.
I already did.
Super.
Thank you very much. It was very inspirative. Bravo. Super. I knew it that it will be full with information and inspirational session. So we have 20 minutes for questions and for comments or for direct question if you have. So somebody to break the...
My name is Maria Duda. I'm part of, as Alexandra said, a social pilot project of social entrepreneurship in Macedonia. We were chosen 5 companies supported by Fund of Innovation. Mm-hmm. And as I heard, I don't know, maybe you can correct me, we only continued 2 or 3 to step out, right?
You're right.
Okay. So the government gave us, as a pilot from so many applicants, only 5 chosen, which was so difficult. You have to pitch. You have to do all the projection, which I'm very physical person, but not theoretically. So I had to hire a girl to fill up everything, the story that they wanted to hear. And it was simple. I do hippotherapy with horses for disability people, but I had to make so many words of that project. Anyway, why is that? Why they step out? I mean, you can answer that. I have a different theory. I lived back and forth New York, Macedonia for more than 12 years. I have business in New York and I have businesses in Macedonia. The idea of people in the Balkans, I think now it's so in, as you mentioned, with the new generations to be responsible, to follow this slow fashion and everything. In our time, I don't know what is your age, I'm 39, and we didn't have the money, so we were kind of being sustainable using, from our siblings' clothing and stuff. But the thing is, the new generations think to have a social business means you get the project, you finish the project, we don't have the money, that's it. That's not the point. The point is to be sustainable, to be just to be pushed to have your business. Mm-hmm. When I opened my ranch for rescued animals, I did it as a hobby because I love animals, and people thought, oh, we would like to see the animals, you're free. And then I said, no, this has to be sustainable, this has to be business oriented because my animals have to eat. I spend 15 to 20,000 euros yearly to support my 41 animal, to give salary to people who work on the ranch, and that has to be in the mind. We don't have the conscience for sustainability. So let's say they're gonna make a reservation in the kafana to eat, and they're gonna give tips to the waiter, which is fine. But in my ranch, they will just come because the kids saw me horse riding and they just like to come and say hi, and will waste 2 hours of my time, and will never come and say, okay, this is a rescued horses with trauma or dogs with no legs or no ears, deaf. We can bring food. You know, I will never charge.
Any kind of
So
donation, yeah.
So I put a standard. You need to have a reservation, and you need to respect the animals. Even if you're with disability, you need to give back something to those animals. So I think in the Balkans, in the West Balkans, we need to work on the consciences.
Yes.
There's so many money coming in from the European Unions, and we think just to have a social business means, okay, the project finished, we don't have the money. As you mentioned, they approve our project, which still they owe me money. They haven't paid me for the last quarter. It's fine. The government, you have to be sustainable. So how I'm gonna be within more than a year and two working in the giving back to the community, we have to charge. We have to find different approach. Yes, it's kind of social business, but has to be business.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, so many young people think, okay, you work, you have the time. No, my time is maybe my time. I volunteer, yes, but that has to be paying the bills and paying the cost. So what is your views, guys, about that? How you think that the new generation or the new fashion in our countries, in the Western Balkans, think that, okay, I'm in, and then they give up. It's easy to give up because it's hard. Otherwise, everyone will do it. Otherwise, we'll not have big corporations. And for Steliana, your Bulgarian embassy in this country is supporting a lot of social entrepreneurship, and they're one of my sponsors for the last year for great workshops regarding diversity, rural tourism, and everything. So they're very good friends on my business and on my ranch. So thank you guys, and I'm hearing your answers.
Bravo.
Yes.
Super.
Thank you. Yes, actually, it is a really, really good question. To clarify, I'm from public, and we were partners of the Fund for Innovation and Technology Development. Because the director of the fund at that time, he said, I have no clue about this. I need somebody to help us to lead the process. So actually, we as an organization, we did everything like that we could, develop the call for proposal, the criteria for evaluation and everything. So we did our best to really annoy you and make it hard for everyone. I know that it was challenging to prepare everything, but you have partially somehow already answered your question. I think that what we are missing as a society is a skill, and that's financial literacy. So believe it or not, like from that very competitive process, two of the organizations actually miscalculated their budgets. So they miscalculated their plant income and the expenses. So actually, they voluntarily gave up from the process, even though they were selected. So I think that it was great that we had this opportunity to learn from this pilot. But for the next steps in providing financing opportunities for social enterprises, I think it's really important to learn from the mistakes from this process, like to be critical. Okay, this was good, this was not good. Maybe from the perspective of the selection committee, I think that we were supposed to involve more people from the business sector, because we had the capacity to evaluate the social mission, and are they really honest in what are they doing, and are they really going to deliver what is
But
expected?
you never did follow up. They
Yes.
never came on my
No.
sessions, which I was giving 3 months for free
Yes.
course therapy. They could just come and
Yes,
see.
it's a pity, but what also happened that after some time the director changed and everything, the entire management team of the fund changed. So basically all the efforts that we did as an organization and you did like basically the time and everything, it just fell apart. But the idea is that we really learn from this experience, because I see that there will be other also opportunities for financing, even sub grants from calls for proposals.
Why do you think the people step out? Do you think they just miscalculate their
Yeah.
finances, or they couldn't hold? Because I know one of the guys was asking me to be one of the Gere. I don't know if he did.
Yes, I know.
He step
him.
out?
Yes. He practically messed up the entire budget. Yes, so there was nothing that he could. So that's what I'm seeing, that it's really important, even in the development of the part. We are all like so far in North Macedonia when we are talking about capacity building of social enterprises. Again, because the people that work on this sector are mostly from the civil society. I know you mostly, your social mission, you have to be responsible, you have to be transparent, you have to report on your income. But the last time we will spend on financial sustainability, and I think this is something that we are falling out. And this is also a lesson learned from the technical assistance project. We have to think about sustainability, but also financial sustainability.
What I was part of Serbia Macedonia connection with Arno. They were businesses, amazing examples from Serbia, from Lebane, making Ivan,
Ruža Lebanon.
They were just amazing. So we had a few months. It was an amazing project that we hang out 3 days in Macedonia, 3 days in Serbia, and back and forth. And the mentors were amazing. That is something that was really
important,
down to earth about social entrepreneurship. Even the chosen mentors, the example, like, because Serbia has already the law, we do not have the law. We are
still
wanted to be, and we could learn from each other. And it was the northeast region of the countries. But the thing is, as I said. Social entrepreneurship, I think it just has to be more simplified to know, a lot of new people just want to be in because they want to give something back to the community, but they don't know that it's mostly a very challenging path, because at the end, it's all about you have it or you don't have it. Like we know with Slavica, we met in some events. So great events like this can connect people again and again and again who are, and the other one who wanted to be in, they just fall apart. So I'm very thankful for being here and guys listening.
Yeah, I will also add something. It's like the entire entrepreneurial culture that we have. We are not sufficiently entrepreneurial. We are still. Even I saw one participant in the RISE program. So even in that program, like we don't, the success rate of participant is still very small. So basically, beside that financial literacy, we also need to do a lot of work in building that entrepreneurial spirit. What's really entrepreneurship? We were very lucky with the Fund for Innovation and Technology Development. They did an amazing job in promoting the entrepreneurship and supporting the business sector. And then, when politics...
but most of the businesses just use the fund and they never, even the commercial ones. We're talking about businesses that I have friends who own businesses.
Of course. So but when policies gets into something, then you are like, okay, this is done. But we need to work a little bit more on entrepreneurship, because I have also worked as a mentor of social enterprises, and what I see is that they really fail in developing something that it's that you can really put it into the market, that is marketable, that can be sustainable. So we need to also work a lot on that part. Yeah.
I would agree with you. I mean, and I would add only to discussion. There's no like the best recipe, but it's really cultural thing. Entrepreneurship is really thought as being ashamed in the previous times. So having money, having your business, it's always like he's a murky in a way. So it's really moment to in a way kill the authority of the parents, which are actually making really difference in that way. We also in Serbia have this experience of guys being in social entrepreneurship and still being afraid to show that they earn some money. In the accounting, you see, they understand that being non-profit means not earning money. So it's unbelievable. I met a guy a month ago. We see him as social entrepreneur for 10 years. He's like, can I give invoice? I'm like, how did you do your business? So it's really, we miss education. I think that's one of the main things. And I think how you put your way of building network is really important, because we are still not giving enough, and we're not part of the community. And I think the guys from the public institutions, there's always that comment, are there people? Because they are not belong to the community. They are all often too decent to be like citizens. If you work in the public institutions as a clerk, you're not just representing that institution. You're also living in some kind of community. That's something that I feel I work a lot with guys in the institutions. So I can give you an example to show how it's important to remember those people that you're belonging to your parents. My parents worked in the public sector, and it's really hard to talk with them to see all these parts of their identity. So, for example, the woman working in the Ministry of Labor that was in charge in Serbia for the law, we took them for study visits. It was crucial to see social enterprises, to build that kind of trust. Because they think that this is like, when you become strong enterprise, then you won't be social. It's not about that, it's about being social enterprise. You want to be that. And we took them to Cafe 16. It's the place where it's similar to Tea House. They work with kids from shelters. And then she realized, because she worked on another strategy, that she completely missed in all strategies for social inclusion people on the street. They missed huge population of people being part of policy framework. So it's really important to work with all different people, to be part of the community, that it concerns them in a way, and that you can use that resource as being part of the system to change even your environment. It's not something that is so difficult in a way. So that's something that we try to do, to educate all those interesting for us stakeholders, to show them what's the. But I think really educational finances, entrepreneurship, but also belonging to community, giving to the community, especially in this territory. I mean, for me, it's just unbelievable how unsensibilized are people for the environment in which they live.
And could I also add? I don't think that I'm disagreeing. I do agree with a lot of what you said, but there are certain things that I would want to just put a little like exclamation point on. You talked about like the generational issue of like younger people not being connected, but I don't really believe in that. I see younger people being connected more than actually not being connected. Maybe we have the issue of like getting bored a bit easily and all of that, but this is a matter, I think, of our culture of actually establishing value in the things that matter. And involving younger people from earlier on. Because if we tell someone, or you're too young to deal with people with disabilities, or oh no, this, dealing with prisoners, that's dangerous. You cannot do that. You have to grow up and then, you're going to deal with this topic. And then they grow up and then they don't know what life in prison is like, or like who goes to prison and all of that. And and I'm complicit in that as well. I am like one of these young people. And to me, working in the tea house was not natural. I'm not connected directly to the cause. I've never had anyone in my life that was raised in social care. I have not had, family, friends, nobody. To me, those were, kids in the foster home, and they just live there, and they're probably, Roma, and like all of the stereotypes that you would think, until, I discovered the tea house as a cultural space. To me, it was the space where, people talked about feminism. People talked about all of these concepts that I knew from London. And then I came to Varna and I was like, oh my God, where am I? Like, why people talk like that? And then I was like, okay, well, these kids, they're normal kids, but they have less opportunities. So, I managed to like work my way to the cause very, like step by step, becoming a volunteer, then working behind the bar with them, all of that, with a lot of feedback from my colleagues that were like, you cannot go and lecture a youngster telling them you should do better in school, because that doesn't work, just provide the example, state where it has been useful to and everything. And then when I became a parent, I discovered how much you earn from having parents. Maybe you're going to have, not really adequate parents, but you're going to have parents, and you're going to have a home. You're going to have a place where you go back to. And when you don't have that and you live in an institution, everything just crumbles. You don't belong anywhere. You're nobody's kid. So I was like, okay, so if these kids are nobody's kid, then they're everybody's kid. So we all have to take care of them. It's all of us is responsibility to take care of these kids. And I usually get to people not through telling them the social tea house is a place for integration of youth and risk, where we provide first job and mentorship support. I tell them, do you want to support a place which will provide the proper environment for a youngster to become your child's classmate, and not your child's drug dealer or the prostitute on the street? Because this is it. If we don't include them, they become outsiders to the whole system. They don't belong in our system. And people are like, oh my God, okay, so I guess it matters what I do and if I come here to get my coffee or not. So it is a problem of all generations. It's not only the younger people, but we want a lot of them. And when they come into the organization and are not directly involved in the cause, it is very easy for them to fall out of it, because it is a lot. Solving the issues of the world is difficult. It's not, we have, Marina and I, we work with the youngsters. You have your ups and downs every day. Today, somebody might come to you and say good morning, and you'd be like, yeah, we succeeded. They're polite now, and then go on and, take drugs, and you're like, oh my God, okay, now we have to deal with that. So it's, you get your ups and downs, and you get to like live through it, and that is heavy, and you have to have the support, and it's money, but you have to have, the mental support of that. You need to have your communal support from everyone that, comes in and just tells you, you're doing a pretty important job, and good on you. And this is important as well. So we lack that. And usually a lot of our teammates in the tea house have left the cause because of burnout, because you have to know how to run a business, but you need to know how to contain yourself in a tricky situation, how to talk to public authorities, how to do just anything. And that's what human does that? Like, why is that fair at all for us to like have those expectations? So it's a big thing that I always tell young people. You have to just have that in mind, that if you go into that, you need to have the solid base that you're getting yourself into that. It's heavy. These are the instruments you can use. And that's why I think the most sustainable social enterprises in our context are those of mothers of children with disabilities, because they have a disabled child at home who has grown up into a disabled youth, into a disabled adult, and they experience every day what is it like for their child to not have opportunities. So they create the opportunities for their child and also other children. And those, I have this favorite one colleague of mine, and she's like, I wake up every day and I quit my business, and then I go, and I'm like, oh, I can't quit that. So she keeps on going. She's overwhelmed. She's burnt out. She's tired. She gets no support, but she cannot do that because her child will have no job and will just have to stay at home and not, contribute in any way and build that independence. So to me, that's, it's not fair that these are the people that are the sustainable people because, or people like that you connect to the animals and you cannot leave them.
No, I just said it's a cultural issue of all the countries.
Yeah.
That's what I said. We have a cultural issue of protecting the kids. For example, if I knew that it's safe to go from my school home without my parents waiting, now it's legal. The parents have to wait the kids. So it's the young generation are more protected, or let's say they already know, they already value themselves, what they want. If they apply for a job, for example, of assistant, of project manager, they expecting to get that without, cutting off the other steps of volunteering and this and that. Rather than me living in USA, there the kids are the same. If you check in the 1930s, if you speak with someone who had a business in the 60s, who have in the 80s, or right now the millennials and the new generations is the same step. Entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship for everyone.
But there's the culture of
exactly.
entrepreneurship is different.
I never.
But this is something that
judge the young
because
generation.
that's kind of what I got, and so that if anyone got that, so that younger generations are pure treasure because these are the people that are getting us through to the new age, with the new skills and everything. I wanted also to say something about the financial literacy. I can't say that I'm the most financially literate person. I have to kind of learn by doing. So I do think that this is a very important step in doing business. I didn't found the tea house. It was founded by somebody else. So I run it. So I had the basics basically. I didn't have to figure it out. It's not my own baby. But in the terms of the tea house, I just want to give you the practical examples. We cannot have sustainability if we want to do our job the way we do our job. If we're running a coffee shop, this coffee shop can be sustained. Everything can be done by 2 people. But in the tea house, we have 2 youngsters with 1 mentor. We have 3 people. Out of those 3 people, if we run a normal business, we're going to have 2 people that we chose by interviews that have worked in another coffee shop before, or have the skills and all that. What we have now, we have 3 people. One of them maybe has worked in a coffee shop before, but they were chosen through their social profile. They have good communication with the target group. They have they're nice, they're empathetic. And then we have 2 people that have not had a job before, so they come in and they mess up orders. They burn the brownie. They do all of it that can be wrong. They serve customers with, what do you want? It's all of that. That's not good for business. Nobody wants to be served like that. So we have that to deal with. If you don't know where you are, you never come back to that coffee shop. Not sustainable. If you know where you are, you come in once, you come in twice, but then you're like, okay, well, if I want to keep on coming here, I can't always have, a wrong order and burnt brownie. I want for it to be better. But what happens on the inside? Okay, people are very, very good to us, but we try our best, of course. We're not going to give a burnt brownie to someone, but we waste a lot. That's money being just, thrown in the garbage can. And then those are salaries, because no youngster is going to come and work if they don't get paid, because they can deal drugs. And that pays a lot better. So we need to tell them, you're going to have a salary that's going to be in your, official records that you're going to be working. And you come in and you work and it's legal and it's great. And you put in effort. And they're like, ugh, okay, if I'm going to get the money, I'm coming in. But those are 3 salaries of people that are semi-working that at the end of the day don't make their own money. We're not sustainable at all for what we're doing. So what can I do as an entrepreneur? I cut the 2 people that do nothing and burn the brownie and, spill the coffee everywhere. Okay, but I'm not a social enterprise anymore. I'm an enterprise. Then what can I do? I can fire the mentor. Then I have, havoc. Yeah, I have chaos and, nobody's served and people are mad. So like, what can I do? And we're trying to get through to the local municipality that they need to fund this, because if you compare, if you give us money for salaries of the youngsters, they say, oh, but this is too expensive. And I'm like, yeah, but it's more expensive to pay for a prisoner.
Yep.
So pay us the salary so that those kids can go on and they can be gardeners, they can be construction workers, they can work in a coffee shop or just, do anything, but be in the legal work environment and not, go on, commit crime, be a user of another social program. It could be, a social program is the prison as well, but any type of residential care or anything, and it is cheaper, and it's getting to the people in government and in the municipality. And I had this conversation literally last week where I spoke to the new vice mayor for social affairs. And I asked her, where's the money for social enterprises? And she was like, well, there's an operational program that you can apply for. And I was like, but how do I fund the sustainability part? And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, if I hire 8 people for 1 year, I need to keep 4 people for half a year to tell the EU that I was good at this, that I deserved that money. And one of the ladies was like, well, what is the problem? Don't they want to stay? And I'm like, they really want to stay. I have no money to pay them. So it's really problematic. And he's like, oh, that sounds like a problem. And I'm like, nobody understands what we do. So this is something that, I do agree a lot with Natasha that we need to go to schools. And when we teach entrepreneurship, we need to differentiate it from social entrepreneurship and say how it works so that we don't get this false narrative of, if you're doing well, then you don't need help anymore. Yeah. Usually you need more help when you're doing well. So it's something that, culturally, that's why I said each one of you can help. Each one of you can be, that little spark that informs other people and brings about the change, because social enterprises, I think, are the normal type of enterprises. This is how our society should work, supporting each other rather than, being in direct competition all the way and yeah.
Oh my God. I knew that it will be the biggest challenge in my life career. Okay. We have 1 minute more.
1 minute.
1 minute.
For to go out.
You should share 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Ќе кажам за крај, бидејќи јас сум најстар гледам овде во сите социјален предприемач и она што од сите вас ве загрижува, еве позитивно ќе кажам. 17 години веќе работам социјален бизнис кој што е само одржлив. Значи ние хотел Раден сме одржливи и ги повикувам младите да не гледат како пример. Не е лесно, тешко е, меѓутоа основното нешто од моето толкогодишно искуство, страстно нештото, да го сакате тоа што го работите, да ги сакате луѓето, да си го направите тимот. Мојот тим се лица со попреченост, меѓутоа ние сме исти. Апсолутно исти. Нема образование. Си ги зедов од специјално образование и си ги направ. И собарица, и главен готвач, и се. Значи, се е можно ако сакате. Ама да не се откажувате, да имате трпение, ќе научите се.
Translate is impossible, yeah. Okay. Striving towards to conclude this event. What I can promise that Youth Alliance Crucial is putting very much in the focus the needs of our target group and the values of our target group. I hope I understood you clearly. This is very important in how we are approaching the topic. So we are learning every day our volunteers to say good morning at our office. We do the same thing. Thank you very much, ladies, for this super constructive session and informative session. For the people who are all day today together with us, thank you for your time. I really hope that we made some minor positive change today. And I'm inviting you to log in on our map. It's a challenging process, obviously. One of the things. And the second element also, I'm also inviting you to make some connections inside. You have 15 minutes more. So today I'm rushing, I'm sorry. So whenever you need something, some information, or you need some connections, write to us. We are very, very open organization. We will do our best to make to answer on your needs. Thank you very much. Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.